The Phillies pull off a series win against the best team in baseball. Was it a playoff preview for what we can expect from the Phillies? From WHYY, this is Hittin' Season. Hey there, podcast pals. I'm John Stolnis from The Good Fight. You can follow me on X and Blue Sky at John Stolnis. Coming up, we are going to take a look at this Phillies-Brewers series, specifically the final two games. And because the Phillies lost the second game, we'll probably focus most of our attention on the third game, the series-clinching win against the Brewers. So we'll talk about that, get into some of the guys who are playing really well right now, and we'll dip in on a couple of veteran players for the Phillies who are cold at the moment. And also, just as a public service announcement, when we talk about players who aren't performing well, I just want to let the folks online know we don't hate them. Okay, that's not what this is about. When we point out somebody's slumping in some really bad numbers, we don't hate them. It's called analysis and trying to figure out what's working and what's not. It's just hashtag content here, folks. We'll also take a look at what's coming up for the Phillies here this weekend, as well as the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Brewers. So lots to get to on this edition of Hittin' Season. Normally at this time of the week, you hear Justin and Liz. Justin is off today, so I am filling in for him. But the wonderful Liz Roscher, from the editor of Sabres Baseball Research Journal, is joining us, as she always does here at the end of the week. Follow her on Blue Sky and X at Liz Roscher. Liz, happy Friday. I mean, hey, the Phillies win a series against the Brewers, and the Eagles won a stupid game on Thursday night. So it's been a 24 hours.
I stayed up to watch that entire Eagles game
did
because I hate myself. You obviously hate yourself too. That was a stupid game. But the Phillies game earlier was not stupid. It was really good. It was an impressive win, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna dive into that game here in depth in just a couple of seconds. But first, just to kind of let you know where things stand, the Phillies win 2 out of 3, capped off by Thursday's 2-0 win in a game that I just saw as a playoff rehearsal win. I mean, everything about it had playoff rehearsal written all over it. You had a Phillies starting pitcher who really stepped to the forefront and gave you the kind of performance against a quality opponent that you need to get from him in the playoffs if you're going to go someplace. So that was great to see from Ranger Suarez. You saw the bullpen managed to hold a very slim lead, like the slimmest of margins, 1-0 until the ninth inning, and then it was only 2-0. But you had the bridge to Duran on Thursday hold up, and then you had, of course, Duran in the ninth inning. So the 3 innings, the 9 outs you got from the bullpen, that's exactly what you're going to see these kinds of games and these kinds of scores in the playoffs, and you're going to need the bullpen to lock it down like that. So now the Phillies are just 4.5 games behind the Braves for the best record in the National League.
Behind the Brewers, not the Braves.
The Brewers, sorry. Thank you. The Brewers. Yeah, the Braves are nowhere to be found.
Nope.
And the Phillies now have played 23 series against teams over 500, Liz, and they are 14-8-1 in those series. That is the best record in Major League Baseball. The Mets were idle, so their lead in the National League East now for the Phillies is back up to 6 games. Also, the Pirates swept the Dodgers this week, Liz. So the Phillies lead for the number 2 seed in the National League is a healthy 3 games over LA. So lots of good stuff happened this week in Milwaukee. Did you see Thursday's game as a playoff dress rehearsal?
I think, yeah, I did see it that way. They needed to play a series against a team like the Brewers, who are just good. You know, it's not like they've got one major superstar here or there. They have a rotation and an offense that consistently get it done. And it's not like, you beat one guy, you beat everyone. Like, every at bat had to be contested. Every single hit that left the bat had to be caught, had to be thrown and gotten for an out. Every single thing they had to do, they had to be there the whole game. And it was great to see them actually do it. They showed me, they showed you, the rest of the fans, that the Brewers are nothing to be afraid of, that they are beatable for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't know why teams like the Mets remain unbeatable to them.
Yeah.
I'll go to my grave wondering that. But it's nice to see that they were able to show everyone. The Brewers are beatable. We could beat them. Look, we just did it.
Yeah.
We did it in several different situations.
Yeah, two gut check wins in this one. I know when we spoke in the middle of the week, we talked about the game on Labor Day as their best win of the season, and I don't imagine another game is going to top that one, given that they were down early and the offense really fought back. But the win on Thursday was a completely different one, and it reminded me a lot of that game two in the wild card round against the Cardinals back in 2022 when you had an early home run from Harper. You had an early home run. I think Schwarber had what was it? How did they get the second run? A Schwarber sac fly or something. Anyway, it was 2-0 as they were going through the late innings. Aaron Nola gave them a terrific performance, and then you had to have some really tough outs gotten by Anthony Dominguez and David Robertson and Zach Eflin at the end of that game. Like, it was, you had to lock down that 2-0 game. You had game one of the NLCS against the Padres in 2022, where Zach Wheeler pitched a gem. But I think that game was 2-0 with the Harper homer and the Schwarber homer. And you had to figure out a way, like sometimes your offense is going to run into great pitching. Freddie Peralta is on a heater right now. 29 straight scoreless innings for him. He's just really, really good. And so the Phillies starter matched the ace of the Milwaukee Brewers to a standstill, and then it was a battle of bullpens, and it was a battle of which team could break through first. The Brewers went 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. The Phillies squandered a bases-loaded one-out opportunity earlier in the game.
It killed me.
It killed all of us, and both offenses were just really struggling to get that big hit until finally the Phillies did break through with a run in the 8th and a run in the 9th, and that was the difference in this game. Like, they had to get a clutch hit, they had to get a clutch double, they had to get some solid base running in order to make it happen. They had to do all of the little things right. Make the good defensive plays. Bryce Harper made a great defensive play on a sacrifice bunt attempt, racing across to pick up a grounder, throw it to third, and get a force out. Ranger Suarez somehow getting out of a second and third no-out jam without giving up a run in that game. Like, those are...
Yeah.
These are the things that you need to see a team do to win a playoff game and a playoff series, because you're not going to score 8-9 runs every time out.
No. That Bryce Harper play was... It's not like I don't expect him to do those things anymore, but he's getting older. He's not quite as flary as he was once. And seeing him do that, like, run right across and make the play, it was really encouraging to me. I was happy to see it. It made me feel like, all right, I think they're still in this. They might not give up the winning run.
Yeah.
They might not give it up in the field, which is good.
Well, and I can't understate the 2-out hits that you got to have in the playoffs. And the offense didn't do a lot, but you had Trea Turner reaching out and poking a ball into left center field for the first run of the game, and that was in the it was in the 8th inning. Yeah, was it the 8th inning? Yeah, no, 7th inning. That was in the 7th inning, because you had the Alec Bohm triple. The Alec Bohm triple, by the way. And that's where you saw the Milwaukee Brewers make really the first big mistake of the game, where it was Isaac Jacobs, who was in right field, dove for the ball, should have kept it in front of him to keep Bohm at first base for a single, but the ball goes into the corner, and Bohm, who runs like a giraffe, who has had way too much alcohol, managed to make it all the way to third with one out. And unfortunately, Bryson Stott rips a ground ball to first base, but right at the first baseman. Like, the infield's in, you just wanted him to hit the ball hard someplace. He does his job, and you get hit with some bad luck. So now you've got Trea Turner at the plate with 2 outs. You've got to get this run in. It's a gotta-have moment in the top of the 7th inning, and Trea Turner, who has been the Phillies' best hitter with runners in scoring position this year, simplifies his approach, doesn't swing wildly, isn't trying to hit a 5-run home run, just trying to put his bat on the ball and pokes a hit into left center field to give the Phillies a 1-0 lead. And then in the 9th inning, you had the Harrison Bader double, but he was kind of sitting there with 2 outs after the Phillies failed to get him in. He had a big, I think it was an Alec Bohm strikeout, after not able to get a sacrifice fly or get the run in. And then Bryson Stott comes through with the double down the right field line to get that insurance run. Again, these 2-out hits, little things that need to happen, Liz, and that's again, does it make you feel better about this team's ability to win these kinds of games against these kinds of opponents in hostile environments?
It does. Like, this is why you pay a guy like Trea Turner $300 million.
Yes.
Because he's a very good player, and when it comes down, when the rubber meets the road like that, he can simplify everything and, poke a ball into the outfield and let a run score. Like, that's why you pay him. But like, it wasn't just him. It was Bryson Stott, who's continued to sort of break out of his season-long slump. Like, everyone knows how much I love him. And seeing him do this, like, right now when it matters most, to get his swagger back, to sort of take control of his at-bats again. Like, that was a big problem earlier in the season. And last year, he was just sort of letting pitchers beat him with his own selectivity.
Yeah.
And he's finally figured out the medium between them, between I will hit this ball, or I will try to hit this ball, and nope, this doesn't look right to me. So like having it come from different types of batters is really encouraging. And I know how giraffes run, and it's hilarious. I've seen video of them sort of because they gallop. Yeah. They sort of gallop, and I'm gonna have to watch some footage of Alec Boehm running to see how. Someone on the internet needs to put them side by side. That's what I want.
It's like he's trying to run on stilts or two pool cues, like just trying to run around the bases. Like it was.
It's for some reason he is not one with his legs.
Yeah, no, not at all. So you get those big runs, and it's just a tremendous effort by the offense late. Well, and you mentioned Bryson Stott's improvement. He really looks like a different hitter right now. And at the bottom of the lineup, giving this Phillies lineup a little bit of length. I mean, I don't need Stott to hit home runs. What you just want to see is line drives, controlled swings, that loopy nonsense going away. You want a guy in a situation like that who you're at least relatively confident is going to hit the ball hard somewhere. Right.
And he's been doing that so much more. Like, even if it's right at a fielder. Yep. Like, every time I see him, really put a scream on the ball, I'm like, this is good. This is the Bryson Stott we know and we need.
Yep. I want to talk a little bit about the outfield. We got a clear indication, I think, this week of what Rob Thompson's plan is in the outfield, and it does not include Nick Castellanos being an everyday player anymore.
Oh, no.
I can only imagine what's going on inside Nick's head right now, but he lost his spot as an everyday player legitimately. This is not, there's nothing, listen, results matter this time of year. I mean, it's September 5th. Okay, results, you're trying to win a title here. And so what we're seeing now is that Castellanos and Max Kepler are officially platooning in right field. And you've got Brandon Marsh and Weston Wilson platooning in left field. Harrison Bader is the everyday center fielder, which is what we wanted right after he got here. And we are seeing he's having a terrific season overall.
Oh, yeah.
Breakout season for him. The Phillies got him at just the right time. I know Ramon Laureano's the other guy I wanted, and he's doing great. With who's he with now? Did he go to Houston? No, he didn't go to Houston. Oh, he's with San Diego. He went to the Padres, and he's doing great there. And Harrison Bader is the everyday starter in center field this team's been looking for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
Castellanos, minus 12 defensive runs saved this year, which is sixth worst among all Major League defenders at every position. And over the last 30 games, has a 196 batting average with a 250 on base and a 304 slugging. Like, if you're not in the field well, swing the bat. But when you're not doing either one, you can't face Freddie Peralta. No, even Matt Kepler is a better option than you.
Which is insane.
Yes.
Like, I mean, Thompson gave Castellanos every single chance he could to keep his job. He really did, to the point where we all really hated it. But like, when I was at the game in against Atlanta last week, I saw someone wearing a shirt that said, "If you don't want to be booed, don't suck." And I'm like, that's kind of right. Yeah. Not even just kind of, that's exactly right. Like, it's not like we boo our own players for random reasons. We boo them when they suck. And Castellanos is that guy. He's just been valueless out there. And it's been so disappointing. And he still has a few years left on that contract. I don't know what they're going to do. One more. Oh, that's good. All right. Well, then that doesn't make me feel too bad. All right. Because, I mean, listen, I still hate Max Kepler and think it was a terrible idea to sign him. And I'm just going to stay on that train until it gets to the station. Yeah, it's been working so far.
It was a bad signing, but at least Max Kepler gives you better defense in right field. Like, if they're going to be a wash offensively, which it sure seems like they are, and Max Kepler, frankly, has been a little bit he's a little bit more patience at the plate, at least. So if you need a tough at bat, I think you're going to more likely to get one from Max Kepler than Castellanos. Although I guess, there was a game this week. Castellanos had a couple of good at bats. It looked like he was doing seeing the ball a little bit better. But
he certainly got the motivation to do so because he's lost his everyday spot.
Yeah.
But that can't feel good for him. And I genuinely feel bad for him as a person. But dude, there's no defending you here. I don't think any of us would have thought for 1 minute when they signed Max Kepler that we would say you would get a better at bat out of Kepler in a tight spot than Castellanos. No. We would have taken that person and laughed at them. We would have pointed and laughed if they said that to us. So, yeah, it is what it is. The outfield seems like it's working now. And, it only took 5 months to get exactly what we needed.
Yeah.
Only took 5 months, everyone.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. The offense seems to be the outfield seems to be working now. Whatever Thompson has landed on here, it does seem to be working. And I think at the center of it, no pun intended, is the center fielder, and that's Bader. He's been on fire. He is in his last 10 games hitting .412 with a .459 on base, and he's got an 1135 OPS over his last 10 games. And he went over the fence to rob a home run for the second out of the game, for the second out of the ninth inning on Thursday for Joan Duran. Just doing it all out there. He actually made a really, really good play in the Aaron Nola start on Wednesday when that blooper dropped in front of him in the first inning, and he tried to throw the bases were loaded, a run was going to score, but the guy who was on the runner on second had to kind of hold up a little bit to make sure that it wouldn't get caught. Bader adjusted quickly and made a really good throw, a one-hop throw to third base that Bohm just didn't catch.
Yeah.
He should have gotten a force out there at third base, which would have been first and second with one out. Maybe Nola still gives up the home run and it's a 4-run inning and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. My point is mostly about, I think Harrison Bader is playing such good baseball right now. He's the reason why Rob Thompson can do this in left and right field. And Weston Wilson in his games has been productive over the last week or so. So that's good to see that at least from the right side of the plate, Wilson's giving you a little bit of something in left field.
Yeah, Harrison Bader is allowing, and I've said it before, he's allowing, Rob Thompson to put the other corner outfielders in positions to succeed. And that's not something he had before. Now he can look at the lineups and, look at the pitching of the other team and be like, all right, which one of these guys is going to be best out there today? And it's not about, well, I have no choice but to play this guy. I can actually make a decision based on the information I already have. I've started yelling, sign Harrison Bader every time he does something good. Sign him. When have the Phillies Shane Victorino was the last solid center fielder they had where you thought he's good on offense and defense? I think he's probably performing a little out of his, out of his depth right now, which is fine. Baseball players do that all the time, but it shows what his ceiling is. And I think his sort of middle, his normal would be pretty decent. It's not like his defense is going to slow down that much. They need this guy. Who else are they going to sign? Sign this man.
Yeah. Well, he seems to have the right attitude too, the right temperament for this team as well. Brings a little bit of a jolt of energy that maybe this team was lacking earlier in the season, and really been going back to last season. But
everyone likes him, and he's got the crab walk. When you've got an outfield move that gets its own name from your own coaches. Yeah. It's the crab. Not even Shane Victorino had that. Come on.
No. But Bader's got style. He's got a little flair, and he has a penchant for coming up in big moments. He has good playoff moments too. He's had big moments in the postseason. So I just kind of like him.
I'm just saying, let's see him have them with Philly. Let's do it.
Exactly. And that's why he's playing every day, because he's providing those moments right now for the Phillies. And the Phillies they now have the opportunity and the benefit of late in games, especially low scoring games, to put together a great defensive outfield when they need to. Even if Brandon Marsh doesn't start in a game, you probably throw him out there in the 8th or 9th inning over Weston Wilson in a game you got to have, right? Because he's going to give you an at bat against a lefty. If he has to face a lefty, so be it. You're not missing Weston Wilson's bat, and you're certainly taking Castellanos out late in a game. That's just been established that Rob Thompson's going to do that now. That's only going to happen more as these games get more important.
Completely.
Let's talk a little Ranger Suarez, Liz. He's back. His last start, he gave up 10 hits in 5 innings, but a lot of it was soft contact hits just because that's what he does. He gives up among the lowest exit velocity of any pitcher in baseball. 3-0 with a 1.09 ERA in his last 4 starts. 3 earned runs in 24 2/3 innings for Ranger Suarez. That season ERA now 2.89, getting back, rising up that list of free agents this offseason, getting ready to make some coin as a guy who looks like he's at least a reliable middle of the rotation starter. Again, I talked about his escape artistry in the 5th inning when he got out of a 2nd and 3rd no-out jam, and really just dominated a good Milwaukee lineup for 6 shutout innings. If there's any concern about is Ranger Suarez, can he be a Game 2 starter for you? Can he be a Game 3 starter for you? Well, the Brewers are a team he would face, and the fact that he went into Milwaukee, on the road, and shut those guys down for 6 innings tells you all you need to know. Like, if you had to start a Game 2 with Ranger Suarez, he's going to give you every chance to win. Certainly as good a chance as Aaron Nola would have given you the last few years, as good as Christopher Sanchez would have given you the last few years, and as Jesus Luzardo would give you this year.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't hesitate to have Suarez start, a Game 2, definitely a Game 3, but even a Game 2. I mean, it's not just because of necessity right now and what the Phillies need. But he's proven himself. Like, he does have peaks and valleys. It's sort of his nature. But even when he gives up 10 hits, he still gives you a great chance to win the game. Like, that's a rare thing for a guy to have the right stuff to be able to give up a lot of soft contact, but still give, still have it not make a tremendous impact on the bottom line.
He generally limits the damage. I mean, when he's not going well, he will have a big inning that he gives up. But generally speaking, if he gets into trouble, he limits the damage because he generates soft contact. And that's great. Like, you're going to get in trouble as a pitcher. If you can limit it to 1 or 2 runs, you still give your offense a fighting chance to get back in the game and to keep you afloat. And that's one of the things you look for in Ranger. Even when he has performed poorly in the playoffs, it generally hasn't been a blow-up start. You generally haven't, if you don't win the game, it's as much on the offense as Ranger in those types of situations. So really encouraging start from him in the series finale on Thursday. Game the Phillies wanted to win. They wanted to win that series, and the offense didn't do much, and he just matched Freddie Peralta 0 for 0 in that game. Let's talk a little bit about Aaron Nola, Liz.
Do we have to?
I think we have to.
We do have to, I know. Oh, God.
His latest implosion, a 5-inning, 6-run dud that featured 5 runs allowed before he recorded a single out. First 5 hitters in the lineup all scored. The latest in a string of horrific starts for him since he came back from the injured list on August 17th. A 6.78 ERA on the season, going back to the beginning of the season. That's 13 starts and 69 innings. He's allowed 15 home runs in 13 starts, 23 walks. He has recorded at least 1 out in the 7th inning just twice this year, back in April and the first week of May. He has allowed 4 or more runs in a game 8 times this year. He's allowed 5 runs or more 5 times this year. Since returning from the injured list, he's made 4 starts and allowed 18 runs in 19 1/3 innings.
That's so bad.
It's really bad. It comes out to an 8.38 ERA and a 5.00 FIP. So lest we think he's simply trying to still make adjustments since he returned from the injured list, this has been Aaron Nola since the start of the year. Like, he has never found a groove this year. In his first 9 starts, the ERA was 6.16. Remember, we went on the injured list. We were like, oh, maybe this fixes him. Because what is going on with Aaron Nola? And I think that was the hopes. Like, okay, when he comes back, I'll put the first 2 months behind him, and we'll get the normal Aaron Nola back, which isn't perfect, but you certainly are welcoming that guy back to make the loss of Zach Wheeler. Hasn't been the case, Liz.
No, it's been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare pretty much every time he goes out. I don't think anyone is expecting anything more than what they had seen directly before, which was also bad. I mean, I really thought that, him having, 2-3 months to get better would be great. And like, great, he'll be fresh for the playoffs. He'll have he's like, what could he hurt? What else could he hurt? What won't be great and ready to go? It's not even like an off season. It's the focus of this period of time is for you to get better with what's wrong, but also whatever else might be going on. And yet he comes back and he just sticks up the joint every time he's out there. I saw his first start back. It was, I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it.
There.
Seeing him in person is not something I ever want to do again.
Yep.
That sounds sad, but like for a while at least, it's depressing, and I can't even think about the contract. It comes up in all of our minds, but at this point, it's like, what is wrong with this man?
Well, and that's the question, and the question I keep asking myself. Even he's only 32 years old, but he has a bunch of innings on that arm. And you look at the fastball velocity this year, it's down. 92.5 miles an hour was his average last year. It's averaging 91.8. And there are some starts he struggles to get it up past 90. And you just look at a guy who his velocity should be trending higher, given the fact he didn't pitch for like 3 months of the season here. Like he should be throwing harder than he did at the start of the year because his arm has had rest. And it's just not coming. He can't throw anything over the middle of the plate. He used to be able to kind of elevate a high fastball and have it be over the middle of the plate and have guys swing through it because he was very good kind of on the corners and mixing it up. But the fastball, even though it was never 95, 96, generally speaking, had some life. There's no life to the fastball. And I just wonder, is he used up? Like, is it over now for him? I'm not ready to officially say that because Aaron Nola has gone through slumps before, but this feels different. It doesn't feel like he has any answers. And sometimes he's really struggled with big innings, and it's because he's struggled from the stretch. The numbers out of the wind up and from the stretch are the exact same this year. There's been no difference between his effectiveness from the wind up and from the stretch. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's mechanical, but it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, we just might be watching a guy who's deteriorating as a pitcher in front of our eyes much sooner than we had thought. Because if he's not perfect, Liz, and I mean just like corner, edge. If that ball's anywhere near the heart of the plate, anywhere near the vicinity of the heart of the plate, hitters are not missing it. They're just not. They're tattooing everything that isn't hitting a corner.
The Phillies are up against a wall here with Aaron Nola because they need a body. They need someone. And unfortunately, he fulfills the body item, but he's not good enough right now. And so I'm eager to see what they do with him as we go on. Like, unless he gets significantly better in September, he cannot touch a playoff game.
He can't.
He cannot touch a playoff game. There's just no way that he could be in a playoff game.
No.
And what do? Do you move him to the bullpen, which is an option, but is he even good enough for that right now?
Yeah.
Like, and you can't shut him down because he just spent God knows how long not, being shut down and not doing anything. Like, it doesn't seem like there's anything specifically physical wrong unless they're hiding it from us, in which case, why did you come back at all?
Right.
Like, if there is still something nagging at you, stay away. This is why the Phillies front office and the coaches and everyone get paid the big bucks. They are the ones who will have to figure out what to do with him and how to make him either maybe not even better, just tolerable, useful in some way.
Yeah.
And if they can't, then they've got to make the tough decision to be like, you cannot be on the playoff roster. Well, you are taking up the valuable spot that someone who can actually throw.
Right, and I think they will. I mean, that's he. If he continues on like this, they won't. Maybe he makes a postseason roster in kind of the same way that like Noah Syndergaard did, or in the same way that Michael Lorenzen did. In 2023, but
in case of emergency.
Yeah. Well, no, seriously, like really, in case of an emergency, and right now they really need a right-handed starter to step up to the forefront here during this last month of the season, because it's not a great idea to have three left-handed starters starting games 1, 2, and 3 of a playoff series. Like, these guys are all good, and they'll start their three best guys, and if they're left-handers, then that's what they're going to do. But, Taijuan Walker has had a solid season for this team. He's given them everything you could possibly imagine, but he's limited. and he gets hit around sometimes. He is what he is. You don't want Taijuan Walker starting game 3 or game 4 of a playoff series. If you do, you're in for a disaster. That's why they got Walker Buehler. I mean, this makes the Walker Buehler starts here in the minors and then on September 12th when he pitches so important. I mean, he could be the game 4 starter if he looks better than Aaron Nola at this point, because unless Nola figures it out, he's not gonna pitch in the postseason. I don't think he can be in the bullpen, Liz. I agree with you. He's never done it before. I don't know how he'd be able to ramp up quickly unless he's like piggybacking someone and you've got a scenario like that. But I wouldn't even trust him in that because
because he's not great in it. Like they put Taijuan Walker Buehler, my God, Taijuan Walker in the bullpen because he can rip off a couple of good early innings.
Yeah.
He can put up a couple of scoreless innings early on and then maybe get into some trouble. But like he's not. Aaron Nola isn't even that. He didn't 5 runs before a single out had been gotten in that his last start. Like that's not a bullpen guy. That is a guy you send to AAA to figure himself out. And we're so late in the season that it's too late for it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no going to AAA, and he looked good in his rehab starts for AAA, and so that's why they called him. That's why they felt good about calling him up. You just have to hope that there is something mechanical that he's doing, and he's got a funky delivery. He's gotten in mechanical things in his way before. I remember when the pitch clock first came out, he couldn't pitch out of the stretch because he was looking at the wrong clock, and he looked over at the other clock on the other side of the cat and it adjusted his body. He's like, oh, I can pitch now. So there was some of that in 2023
my God,
where he figured that out. But there's nothing obvious that, I mean, if it was, Aaron Nola would have addressed it and fixed it. And I don't think he just like, I got to stay healthy and just keep trying to execute my pitches. His fastball location has been his undoing here. He hasn't been able to if he's able to locate his fastball in play in different spots, then he can still pitch effectively. And he has over his last couple of starts, after he gets out of those terrible innings, that he has settled down. So what you need to see is the settled down Aaron Nola from start to finish. We haven't seen that in it, like, except for maybe one start this year from him.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's
concerning. 7 years, $172 million contract. It's I will say this too. I did an article for The Good Fight this week about Aaron Nola. If you look at his Baseball Savant page, his metrics range mostly in the mediocre range. His results are in the very bad range. So there's an argument to be made that maybe the numbers shouldn't be as bad as they look if you look at all of the metrics. And he's still elite in terms of chase rate, which is weird. Guys, his strikeout numbers have gone up. But his walk numbers have gone up a little bit too. But I was looking at some of the other metrics, like you would think, well, guys are making a lot more contact over the plate against him when he comes over the plate. The numbers are still the same, but I think it's the quality of contact that's happening when he comes over the plate that's a little bit different right now. But I think even if things remain the same, I think the numbers, just based on what Baseball Savant was showing, and it's in my article at The Good Fight, you can take a look at it, would lead me to believe that maybe the numbers will get a little better. But because since he came back off the IL, he's been unpitchable. But they're going to keep pitching him because they have to.
They have to. They don't have another option right now.
One other guy I just want to mention quickly who, I mean, it's great that the Phillies won 2 out of 3 with Kyle Schwarber as cold as he is right now. But he is in the midst of a really weird stretch at the moment. Of course, he had the 4-homer game last week, which is a memory none of us will ever forget. That 4-home run game, a little island in the midst of this growing ocean of hitless games that Kyle Schwarber finds himself in right now. And let me just say, he's going to get out of it. He's going to figure it out. Like, the Phillies just kind of have to endure this for a little while and hope that some of these other guys, Bryce Harper, can pick up the slack while Kyle Schwarber is going through his real first slump of the season. But going into Thursday, Schwarber was hitting 136 with a 296 on base and a 455 slugging over his last 12 games. That included the 4-home run game. If you take out the 4-home run game over his last 12 games, he's 2 for his last 41. for a .048 batting average. That includes the 3 hitless at-bats that he had on Thursday. It's a real dry spell for Kyle Schwarber right now, and I feel like this weekend in Miami is when he pulls out of it. But it's just more proof that I think more than Harper, as Schwarber goes, this offense goes. But I do wonder if he may be costing himself a legit shot at the National League MVP at this point. I don't know that you can go through a slump like this at this time of year, especially when you're trying to battle Shohei Ohtani for this award. I think he may be costing himself. If there was any shot, and I don't know that there was much of one, of winning National League MVP, that might be going away. And that's okay. He's still going to finish top 3, top 4, whatever it is. But it's really hard. This team really does struggle with Kyle Schwarber when Kyle Schwarber is not hitting.
Let me put some of those fears to rest. He was never going to win National League MVP.
True enough.
As long as Shohei Ohtani exists and is playing, it's too bad. Unless Ohtani is not playing or has an uncharacteristically terrible season, I don't think there was a chance that Schwarber, like, he would have had to hit way more home runs than he has already.
Right.
Like beyond even Cal Raleigh, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think it's sad that he's in this slump right now when it seems like, this is the point where writers start to make their real estimates, put their thoughts together about the awards. But I don't think it was ever going to happen. And if he's going to go through a real cold slump, I'm glad it's right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's right now because when he breaks out of it, he has a string of games that are great and you can't get him out. And I would love for that. I would rather that happen at the end of September and early October than earlier, or, he goes into a slump at like the worst possible time during the playoffs and we don't even get to see him come out of it.
Yeah.
And so he's got time now to work out of it, to figure out what's going on and to remember the Kyle Schwarber of old. And by of old, I mean a month and a half ago.
And I'll just tell you, what a weird game this is, in that
right?
He can be in the midst of this unbelievable slump, like this crazy slump, and yet in the middle of it is maybe the greatest offensive performance we've seen in the last 40 years. Since the Mike Schmidt 4 home run game. Like he throws in a 4 home run game in the middle of this awful slump. Like, how does that happen? How do you go deep 4 times and put up and set a team record in RBIs in that one game, and then every other game outside of that over the last 2 weeks, you couldn't find sand if you were standing on a beach. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so, this game is so weird. It's such a
baseball is a great mystery, which is why we all love it so much.
That is right.
It's hard to predict.
That is right. Liz, anything else from the Brewers series? Any alibis we need to pick up on here?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all.
Yeah. Good series win for the Phillies against a really good opponent. It's got to be a confidence booster for this team as they play down the stretch here and look to solidify, hopefully, a first-round bye. The Phillies will now head to Florida for a 3-game series against the Marlins. Feels like it's been forever since the Phillies have played the Marlins.
Really?
Yeah. They're having a better year than we thought they would have. They're 10 games under 500 now, though, so they're kind of leveling off a little bit. Miami took 3 of 4 from the Mets last weekend and then got swept by the Nationals in D.C. this week. So
the National League East makes no sense. No, everyone knows this.
The whole National League makes no sense. Like, talk to me about the Dodgers. Like, what is it? What's going on? Like, the Dodgers go red hot, and then you get swept by the Pirates.
Hey, listen. The Phillies also got swept by the Pirates, something I will never forget, so it makes me feel less bad about that.
Right, exactly. That's my point. Is every national, and even the Brewers are 8. The Brewers are 8-11 in their last 19 now. So every team goes through these different little stretches, and the Brewers are in one right now. The Dodgers in one right now. The Mets are kind of all over the place at the moment. They took 2 out of 3 from Detroit this week, played a really good series in Detroit. They go to Cincinnati for a 3-game series against a Reds team that really needs to win all 3 games if they want to have a shot at the wild card here. They're now 5 back of the Mets for that 3rd wild card spot. In fact, the Giants have moved ahead of the Reds for that. The Giants are 4 back of the Mets. I do not want the Giants to make the playoffs. I do not want to go to San Francisco for anything. So the Mets are in Cincinnati for a 3-game series. That should be a really competitive series. And we'll see what the Reds have left in them here, if they have any death throws left. The Dodgers are in Baltimore for a series against the O's. Again, the Dodgers trail the Phillies by 3 games for the number 2 seed in the playoffs. So Phillies, again, looking better by the day for that first round bye. And then the Brewers go to Pittsburgh to play those same plucky Pirates, and they hold a comfortable 4.5 game lead on the Phillies for best record in the National League. So, Liz, how are we feeling about this weekend? Is this a potential trap series for the Phillies coming off the Brewers? And then next week, you get the Mets at home for 4 games. That's my only concern about this series in Miami. Don't fall into a trap. You got to maintain the intensity here, because you can't look ahead to that Mets series and lose 2 out of 3 in Miami.
The only time the Phillies playing the Marlins has not been a trap is when they did so in the playoffs in
2023.
Like, that was it. That was the only time it wasn't a trap. Because playing the Marlins is always a trap. For some reason, the Phillies have trouble with them. Like, it's the National League East is weird. They've got trouble. They cannot win against the Mets. They have trouble against the Nationals. And it's just been so long since they've played the Marlins that I have no idea how they're going to do, except just having that nagging fear in the back of my head. Like, no, they're going to get steamrolled by the friggin' Marlins.
Oh, please don't let it happen. They have good.
Listen, I don't say this because I want it to happen.
I know you don't.
I say it so I could put it out there.
I hear you.
And it cannot happen.
I hear you. Well, they get 2 good pitchers. They got Jesus Luzardo and Christopher Sanchez starting 2 of these games this weekend.
Fantastic.
So that's good news. Taijuan Walker will get the 3rd game of the series. And hey, I used to dread Taijuan Walker starts. I'm really reasonably confident he'll give them 5 innings of decent pitching. Whenever that game rolls around on Sunday. So we'll see how it goes against a Marlins team that's in 3rd place in the National League East. And, of course, we'll be scoreboard watching. This is the month to scoreboard watch. Now Now is when that MLB.TV package really comes in handy. You can catch some of the ends of these other games. So, but yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend of baseball here, and especially as we look forward to next week and the Phillies getting a little payback against the Mets. But we'll preview that series on the Roundtable edition of the podcast we do over the weekend. Any final thoughts, Liz, before we wrap up?
No, other than I do kind of wish I could go see the Phillies play the Marlins. I love that stadium. It's been a while since I visited it, but it's less, as far as domes go, it's pretty great. The Rangers stadium is like the world's worst snow globe, but the Marlins, because there are very few people who go to the Marlins games. And so it definitely isn't quite as loud.
Yeah, and I imagine the tickets aren't terribly expensive.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I wouldn't think. Now, I've never been to the Miami Stadium. It doesn't look great on TV.
It doesn't. It looked better before they got bought.
Yeah, and they changed they had that sculpture out in center field.
Yeah,
which I thought was
and everyone
cool.
stopped talking about it because it's hopeless now. But it's they went from a team that was sort of like, yeah, let's represent the local population to we are a corporate baseball team. Hello.
Corporate. Yes, that's weird. Yeah, the Marlins. When I think of the Marlins, I just think corporate. That's what you really want to do is be
should
corporate.
be the least corporate team out there. Their mascot is a fish with a real pointy nose.
Well, the Phillies need to win this series this weekend.
Yes.
No letdown, Phils. No letdown. Even though you have the Mets coming up, and I'm sure this Brewers series was emotional. No letdown this weekend in Miami against the Marlins. Finish the job here. Let's get that first round bye through the playoffs. All right, everybody, look, that's going to do it for this edition of Hittin' Season. If you want to watch this episode of the podcast, you can do that on our Hittin' Season YouTube page. Just go to YouTube, type in Hittin' Season, and subscribe to our Hittin' Season YouTube page, and you can catch this episode. You can also subscribe to the WHYY YouTube page, because that's where all of our weekend roundtable editions of the podcast live. So you can make sure that you subscribe there, and you'll get this podcast as well as a bunch of other great content from WHYY. And then, of course, for you audio listeners, of which the vast majority of you are, you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you get your podcasts. Apologies for the last episode. I know there were some audio issues on Spotify for some reason that we couldn't figure out for whatever reason. So hopefully things are sounding more normal with this episode of the podcast, and so we'll be keeping an ear on that as well. But thank you all for sticking with us, even though we had some audio trouble with the last episode of the podcast. And please tell your friends and family members about Hittin' Season. This is the time. Listen, if they haven't been listening all year, this is the time. It's a stretch run. It's a pennant race, baby. So this is the time to do it. Weather's getting colder. So make sure, if you can't watch all the games, subscribe to this podcast so we can fill you in on everything. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time right here on Hittin' Season.